Yeah, welcome along to After the Flag. The final Grand Prix before the summer break has been completed, and boy, were we in for some late drama at the Sachsenring. Suddaby and Simon Crafar, as always, are going to talk you through all the big moments, and boy, were there some big moments in this German Grand Prix, which saw the MotoGP World Championship lead change hands. It felt like a long odds prospect for Pecco Bagnaia to leave Sachsenring as the World Championship leader, particularly after Jorge Martin won the Tissot Sprint yesterday and extended his lead to 15 points. But, Simon, there was a big but, a big sting in the tail. Jorge Martin leading the German Grand Prix, not by much, but he was half a second clear of Pecco Bagnaia going into the penultimate lap of the race. And Jorge Martin crashed out, giving up not only a win, but the World Championship lead with it.
Yeah, I can't help but feel sorry for Jorge. Feel sorry for anyone in that position. It was Brad Binder and Pecco in Barcelona, you know. And the thing is, it was so clear that they played their race differently. I think Pecco's explained it the best in Parc Ferme to me, saying when Jorge fought back and ran away, he was doing his big push then, you know, using his tyres, and Pecco thought, oh, we better be careful. It was clear to see Pecco being careful because he can go with Jorge. And then in that last period, it was Pecco's turn to use what left he had of his tyres. And look, like I've said twice already in Parc Ferme, is people will say that was gifted to Pecco, but that was a clever race by him, and he knew how easy it was to make a mistake with that front tyre, especially in the last part under pressure, and he just kept that pressure on, piling it on Jorge, and Jorge folded, you know. And can you imagine having your board saying +7, +6, +5, you know, as he's hunting Jorge down, and Jorge's trying to find a little bit more to respond until that happens.
How easy a mistake is that to make? So late in the race, of course, you're just searching for any late grip you have, and we've seen all weekend here, it's the right-handers that have caused a lot of the problems.
Yes, in recent times, the Michelin rear is so good. It's why we've seen the lap times come down, the race distance, over race distance come down 30 seconds over race distance in Assen, and the front, it's getting pushed, and all of the riders have been saying all weekend, I mean, you have to manage it, you have to be careful, and that was it. It was super easy to do. All of them would have been having moments and getting warnings, and that one caught Jorge out.
And as you say, it rewards the patience of Pecco Bagnaia and also the intelligence of Pecco Bagnaia. Of course, he was lowest third at one point in the race. He was stuck behind Jorge Martin's teammate Frankie Morbidelli, who had a really good first half of the race and still came across the line in the end in 5th place. But how easy is it, or how difficult is it to just listen to your brain in that stage of the race where you can see Jorge Martin trying to get a gap at the front? You've got his teammate in front of you, not necessarily acting as a buffer, but that's effectively what he was. He was in the way of Pecco Bagnaia and just play the long game and not try and chase some short-term gains.
That's what comes from experience. You mentioned Frankie Morbidelli, and it was quite clear Frankie was using the tyre to stay with them and fight with them, and didn't have any left towards the end, you know, and he suffered. It was much like we see every year at Phillip Island. The riders managing easily caught up with, you know, and stay in that same group by slower riders using the tyre, like we saw Pedro do in his first race. So I think the big thing to take out of it is Pecco managed it perfectly, and Jorge did it different and almost managed it even better.
2 laps away from completing what would have been a second consecutive Sachsenring double for Jorge Martin. In the end, he fell short by a couple of laps. 4 Sunday wins in a row now for Pecco Bagnaia. Of course, he was untouchable in Assen and in Mugello. Much more challenging this weekend here for Bagnaia, which will give him, I guess, even greater satisfaction that he emerged from it, not only with the win, but the championship lead too.
I've said it so many times, he's class, isn't he? He really is, and he's shown it again today. I have to say something that is really nagging in my head is this is a perfect example of Ducati having 8 machines on the grid. They always fight back each day, you know. We see it on the Saturday, they make a step forward, but we really saw it today. And the reason I say it, we'll come back to it, but the reason I say it is no other brand could stay with them, and they could yesterday. Ducati, with their electronics, made a step forward today.
Well, it's a special, special day for the Marquez family. A double podium for them and Grassini. Marc Marquez, 13th to 2nd. Let's hear from him with Matt Burt.
Yeah, Mark, Hollywood star Keanu Reeves has been here in the Sachsenring this weekend. That race for you after such a topsy-turvy weekend felt like it could be a Hollywood movie. 13th to 2nd. How on earth do you try and describe what you've gone through this weekend?
Incredible race. I mean, I didn't expect to finish in the podium, but first thing and the most important is that today I get up and I felt better with the body. So I arrived to the box and I said to the team, today I felt better, today I can ride aggressive. I can ride in Marquez mode. So yesterday I was super smooth. And from that point, we started our race. It was just try to don't stress too much the tires, try to make that come back in a slowly way. No panic because here it's super difficult to overtake. And yeah, in fact, the contact with Morbidelli was the one that I didn't was unexpected, and then I lose a lot of time. But that point also make that click, that off. Now all in. And then, in fact, the last laps when I was catching my brother, many question marks. I say, what I can do? Attack, take a risk. If something happened, what happened? I mean, also was a nice podium for him, but unfortunately for Martin, but good for us because this is racing. We were both in the podium these last 2 laps and makes everything easier.
Mark, I mean, obviously we're told it's hard to overtake you in the Sachsenring, but we know it wasn't easy, but that fight through the field was just incredible to watch. As you mentioned, one of the big battles was with Frankie Morbidelli, the contact at the first corner. You got a broken finger, you also got a broken screen after that one. That must have hurt the ribs as well. I mean, how difficult a moment was that in the race?
Yeah, I mean, today, as I say, the ribs were much better, and then I can breathe and I can move the bike. The finger in the end is broken and it's moving a bit, but now we will fix and that's it. This was not a big problem. Fortunately for me, it was the left hand, so that was not a big problem. Didn't affect my performance. Yesterday the ribs affect my performance, but today not. I mean, we prepare a nice cocktail before the race with the doctors and the physios, and this helped me a lot. The medicine also helps sometimes the athletes. So yeah, from that point we had that contact with Morbidelli where the airbag deployed. Yeah. 2 laps before he had the same move, and then I just rolled the gas, but I say, hey, I'm here. But then when he went wide, I say, okay, I will be on the white line and maybe. But it was a contact that I didn't expect. Fortunately for both of us, we were okay.
Mark, you've had so many unbelievable moments in your career, but today must be one of the best. Your brother, Alex, standing on the podium, the first time that's happened since Nobuatsu and Takuma Aoki at Imola in 1997. What a day for you and the Marquez family.
I feel like I won the race. I mean, this is the real feeling. I'm super happy, and share the podium with my brother. We will enjoy it a lot. It's a day that I will never forget because it will be difficult to repeat in the future. Honestly speaking, this season I say will be impossible. Why? Because for me it's difficult to be in the podium. For him also it's difficult to be in the podium. So find the same Sunday both on the podium was something that was a bit unreal. But in a dry race, in a very fast race, you know, he's a very talented rider, and today he showed. I think the fact that he has already 2 years more with Grassini feel more relaxed to him, and this weekend he rides in a very good way.
Special weekend for the Marquez family. Mark, amazing weekend. We know how good you are in the Sachsenring. After what happened to you on Friday, all the mechanical problems,
yeah,
all the lost track
overall was not a good weekend. I'm happy because we are second. I'm happy because we share the podium with my brother, and will be a nice party in the Grassini team. But the weekend was not good. I mean, we had a lot of technical issues. I did that big mistake in turn 11 that affected all weekend. So yeah, but together with the team we learn, and now it's time to relax in the holidays.
You just mentioned the party. I'm sure it's going to be quite big somewhere with the Gresini team and the Marquez family. You just said, Mark, off camera, time tonight for some more natural painkillers. I'm sure there's going to be a few beers and some champagne.
Yeah, I mean, before the race I take one cocktail. Tonight I will take another type of cocktails.
Mark, amazing job.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so if you can get an invite to the Marquez party this evening, then you'll certainly have a good time. Second and third for the Gresini teammates and brothers. Marc Marquez, 13th to second. Boy, did he have some hurdles thrown in front of him this weekend. But in a true champion's fashion, Simon, he never gives up.
Mark, give up. I think the only time you ever see that is if it's impossible, like we saw last year, you know, with the Honda. Yeah, he warned us. It was exactly 1 week ago. He said that to have a good weekend here is to fight with Pecco and Martin, and that means, and not have a good weekend, you don't. And I fully believed him, and I said it in the gear up. I said it during the commentary, and he was dead right. And it was a rough weekend, but man, did he rescue something.
Well, there's certainly going to be a big party in the Marquez household this evening. There's going to be a pretty big one in the Bagnaia household too, as he gets ready to start married life. He'll start it as the World Championship leader, your German Grand Prix winner, Pecco Bagnaia, with Simon.
Yeah, his last Grand Prix as a single man was a pretty special one for the world champion, Pecco Bagnaia. This golden run continues, 4 successive wins, Pecco back at the top of the World Championship. Perfect way to go into the summer break, and with your wedding coming up as well. I think that was a demonstration of never giving up and keeping the pressure on here today in the Sachsenring.
Yeah, for sure, very tough one. Jorge was doing a superb job, and it was very, very difficult to close the gap to him. Maybe I lost a bit too much behind Frankie, but he was doing a very incredible pace. So when I just decided to slow down a bit when I saw that they were overtaking, I think that they were a bit too much on the rear tire, so I slowed down a bit, and I was trying to managing it a bit, and in the last 50 laps I started to push back. I was closing it every lap, a tenth, then I was stable for 2-3 laps, but then I was gaining again 3 tenths in a single lap, so I think could have been a very great battle in the last lap, but this is not the occasion. So happy about the 4th win in a row, happy for going in the summer break and to get married, leading the championship. So it's great.
Life doesn't really get any better than this right now, does it, Pecco? I mean, just talk us through what happened to Jorge. As you said, you're always a great sportsman. He did ride an amazing race. Unfortunately, the mistake in that first corner. What did you see of it? And it's such an easy mistake to make here in the Sachsenring.
Absolutely, but the pace was making our life more critical, because honestly, the front was screaming, the rear was screaming, and every time I was braking, I was entering corner 1, I was feeling that the front wasn't there. Also in the left corner, in corner 7, 8, 12. So it was very tricky, and lapping 21.0, 21.2, 21.1 was incredible today. So Martin was doing a good job, but I think he just tried to remain with this 5 tenths of gap, and maybe he braked a bit too much on the corner 1. But as soon as I saw him crashing, I just give up, and I was 1 second slower because I was very too much on the limit maybe.
Of course, it was here in 2022 where you made the mistake as well when you were leading. You were 91 points behind in the championship at that point. I remember how angry you were here at the Sachsenring 2 years ago. It's been just an incredible 2 years since this Grand Prix though, Pecco. I mean, how do you kind of describe what's happened to you over the last 2 years or so?
Experience, a lot more experience. When normally when I crash, when I make mistakes, I understand why I did it, and I'm always trying to be better. So this is what I'm trying to do every time. And the mistakes I did 2 years ago here was huge, but also today was very easy to commit the same, because on the right side I needed many laps to warm the tire, and in 2022 was the same. So back there, I didn't understood it. Today, yeah.
Just quickly, Pekka, you had a fantastic day here in the Sachsenring. 2 young fans certainly
Yeah.
had a fantastic day. I don't know what that message said because I can't read Italian very well, but a great gesture for you to go and find them. We saw the young lad had the 63 cap, but a special moment for them.
But yeah, I saw before the Friday already the poster,
The banner, yeah.
the band saying right with this Friday, if please can I get some gadget from you? And I saw that we're two little kids, and first thing I said to myself is if Sunday will do something good, I will give to them the sliders, and I think they were very happy. I saw the face. It's easy to make happy a children.
You didn't just make their day, I think you made their year. A great gesture, Pecco. They certainly are going home happy. So are you. Have a great wedding with Dimitria in the summer break. Well done,
Thank
mate.
you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck to Pecco Bagnaia and his future wife, Dimitria. They'll be Mr. and Mrs. Bagnaia by the time we see them again at Silverstone. A great world champion, a great ambassador for the sport, as well, as you saw there after the race, handing over those knee sliders to those 2 young fans. And we've seen already in MotoGP over the last couple of years, when he gets on a roll, he's very, very difficult to stop. 4 consecutive wins. He also now holds the record outright on his own as the most prolific winner for Ducati in MotoGP history. Just put that into context for us.
Well, he said it. Casey was the old leader, but he did it in a very short time. So respect to Casey for, you know, so many wins in so few years with Ducati. Like I said, the guy is class. I also liked his honesty there. I just want to remind you again that he backed up what I said earlier, and that Jorge Martin did such a good job and almost the perfect job. It was such an easier mistake. Rather than bag Jorge, you know, meaning it's slang for give him a hard time, he almost pulled it off. Pecco explained how hard that was to keep the front, you know. And yeah, both of them, that was a proper Titanic battle between those 2, even though it wasn't super exciting and there was a gap between.
Double Marquez podium, as mentioned today. Marc Marquez in second, Alex Marquez a joyous third. Let's get his reaction with Matt.
Yeah, what an unbelievable day for the Marquez family. It's been a great race week here in the Sachsenring for Alex. Alex, you started the week with the best possible news, a new contract, 2 years, staying with Gresini, and you finished the week pretty perfectly as well. Congratulations, Alex. A real strong ride here there in the Sachsenring today. On the brotherly podium, how good does that feel?
Unexpected. I mean, for him, but also for me. I mean, before the race, I had an interview on the grid, and they said to me, "How is the objective?" I said, "P7, no more," because we didn't had that rhythm on all the practice and all that. It's true that in the warm-up we felt really good with the conditions that we had today. And also, I mean, with small changes for the race, that I was feeling not 100% on the warm-up, and we're working really nice. I mean, I did a good start, I did a good first laps. I was trying to manage the rear tire. I saw it someone in front of us that they were using too much the rear tire, and they start to suffer in the middle. So yeah, so happy about this podium, because we were struggling quite part of all this beginning of the season. And have this after the renew contract and all that is something really great.
We spoke to you in the press conference on Thursday, Alex, and we said clearly you've been consistently inside the top 10 for a good number of races now, and you felt like you were ready after a few difficult races to maybe take that next step forward. You've done it this weekend with that podium. Do you think now we're going to be able to see you in the second half of the season sort of consistently fighting in that front group?
We hope. I mean, unfortunately now, honestly, and I say unfortunately because it's something that pain me, we have holidays. When you have a great feeling, when you are coming back to the great shape and great feeling, you want to race next week. But now we have these weeks to analyze everything that we try here, because we did quite a few changes on the setup from Friday, try to understand the things. Because this year I was able to be fast in one lap, but not on race pace. But here, looks like we were using a really different bike, and looks is working. So cross fingers that will work for this mid part of the race or of the season.
Some good battles in that race with Oliveira, with Morbidelli, and then late on with your brother Mark, Alex. I mean, obviously a super special feeling. As we mentioned, the first time since 1997 that two brothers have stood on a Premier Class podium, Nobuatsu and Takuma Aoki. That podium, that cool-down lap and the celebrations tonight are going to be pretty special, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were there fighting. I saw it +0 Mark, and later on I saw it the Martin crash. Say, okay, my body was shaking, honestly speaking. Say, what I do now, I was on the limit with the rear front tire. And then I was trying just to push because I didn't know how was the battle of Enea and Morbidelli. We know that Enea is really fast in the last laps. So later on I was trying to push, but then he overtook me on downhill, and I say, okay, here, P3, okay, we arrived to the end. Or the last lap I was just trying to watch the big screens, the big TVs, there to know where was Enea, and I saw that it was really far. So I said, okay, time to try to calm down, try to arrive to the end. And yeah, really special one. I will change all my podiums in the World Championship for this one because it's so special. And it's something that, honestly speaking, I know that it's something really difficult to repeat or difficult to achieve, and yeah, it's something super great.
Yeah, it's such a special sight to see both of you standing together on that podium, Alex. Enjoy the celebrations tonight. The good news is you've got 3 weeks at least to recover from the headache.
This night will be long. Bye-bye.
Enjoy, Alex.
Yeah, we believe him. We certainly believe Alex Marquez, and we certainly believe Mark too. Double podium for them. It's just a really nice story, isn't it? 10 World Championships between them. Well over 100 podiums for Marc Marquez. Of course, Alex has been on the podium too in MotoGP, but this is going to be a day that the Marquez family is going to remember for a long, long time.
Yes. I really thought Alex was going to win one last year. You know, he came really close. Second, and it didn't happen. And this year's been harder for him with the GP23, but he's not alone. Everyone on it has taken some time to adapt to it. I still think he's got it in him. You know, I still believe he will win a race before he leaves MotoGP. He's quite a character, a really good sense of humour. I've done the LCR team launch with him when he was with them, and I'm happy to see him on the box.
Yeah, I think we're all happy to see Alex Marquez up there on the podium. He has been sort of chipping away in recent rounds. Of course, he was on the front row last weekend in Assen following Jorge Martin's penalty. So this result has, I guess, been coming. Fourth today, just off the podium, Enea Bastianini, fourth in both the sprint and the race. For him, the late race charge that we saw in the sprint never quite materialised, did it?
Yes, I really expected it. I pictured he's going to come and hunt the Marquez brothers down, both of them, and it didn't happen. So we know he has that ability, so I'm really looking forward to hearing his debrief tonight, and maybe they made a mistake with tyre pressure, it was too high, or something wasn't right, you know, because that wasn't as strong as I expected from Enea.
Fifth for Frankie Morbidelli. Of course, we saw that contact with Marc Marquez that you heard Mark describing earlier on when he spoke to Matt. As you already alluded to a little bit earlier on, it was clear what Frankie Morbidelli was up to when he was up towards the front earlier on, but just really good to see Frankie Morbidelli back fighting at the front of a Grand Prix again.
Completely agree. I think a lot of people will. Good to see Frankie and back at the front, and that will give him a big boost, you know, that he knows that he can run with those guys. He's got to learn a little bit more. He's saying, yes, he's an experienced rider. He doesn't have that much experience with this bike. It's the best one on the grid, but he still has to figure out how to use it. And, you know, he's come from the Yamaha. So I think this will give him a big boost. He can ride it fast. Just one more piece of the puzzle is that tyre management. I think he'll figure it out. I hope he figures it out before the end of the year. Before we move on, I just want to repeat what I said before about the Ducati. It's so clear that with the 8 bikes, 8 technicians, you know, electronic engineers, crew chiefs, riders, all working towards Saturday from Friday information, and then Sunday, they always make a step forward, all of them. And I'm pretty sure it's an electronic area, as well as, for example, Pecco's bike didn't have the adjustments that it had yesterday. I saw they were gone. So they're non-stop finding the way forward. Sorry to use all your time, but I'm so happy that next year we're going to have two less on the grid, and it gives it a more even fight between the other manufacturers, which can't seem to make the step. And I don't think it's just a lack of knowledge. It's, you know, on the manufacturer's part, it is having so much more information with 8 bikes.
And it appears, if you believe the whispers in the paddock, that potentially one fewer factory spec bike as well. It looks like we may have, or we will have 6 Ducatis, but it could be 3 GP25s and 3 GP24s. The strong rumour now in the paddock is that that GP25 could go to Fabio Di Gianantonio, who it now looks is set to stay at VR46 on a Ducati contract for the next 2 years. Of course, follow MotoGP.com throughout the summer break for any official news on that. I was actually going to ask you about that very point that you just raised regarding Ducati's strength in numbers, because I was going to come on to Miguel Oliveira next, who was the best of the rest behind the Ducatis. And of course, Aprilia in the end, not only were they 4 Aprilias against 8 Ducatis, it was actually 3, of course, with Aleix Espargaro's withdrawal on Friday.
Yes, Miguel, we all expected more, and apparently we've got to go. Apparently, we also all expected more. Sorry about that. And it didn't happen. We've got to go to Miguel's debrief to find out if it was something else apart from the Ducatis making a step forward on Sunday.
Yeah, it was a Ducati 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the end of this German Grand Prix.
But sorry, it was super good to see Miguel Oliveira back where he belongs, you know, in the front group.
Yeah, on the front row of the grid for the first time since Portimao 2020 as well. His best qualifying since then, because he was on the front row once last year. We now move on to, first of all, our summer break, which we're all looking forward to, and then we'll be back for a 75th anniversary celebration at the British Grand Prix. Make sure you keep an eye out for the special retro liveries that they'll be running at the British Grand Prix in a few weeks' time. I'm off back to the UK for my summer holiday. Simon's off to hook up with his new best friend, Keanu Reeves. We will see you in a few weeks' time for the British Grand Prix, first weekend of August, where Pecco Bagnaia will arrive as the World Championship leader.